Go to getamazonnow.com and give a gift card.
Welcome to humanity. This is our one.
Whatever it takes, we got to stop. Whatever it takes is what it took.
This is Brock Lesnar, and you're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Yo, hi, this is Sugar Ray Leonard, and you listen to Fight Net Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to listen to Fight Net Radio.
lee-honish, what's your name? I know how am I supposed to know you?
This is Frank Shamrock. You're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Hi, this is Nia, the Knockout St. John. You're listening to Fight Net Radio, and there's no way I would ever touch Lee.
This is Chuck Jackson.
I am Stephen Bonner, and you're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Dan Henderson, you're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Everybody, welcome to Fight Net Radio, where Lee's burning every bridge there is out there. All right.
Hi, this is Manny Pacquiao. I'll fight anybody on FightNetRadio.com.
Whatever it takes, we got to stop. Whatever it takes, all these truths for whatever it takes. This is how we show it. Whatever it takes, 'cause we ain't got nothing to whatever it takes.
Hi everybody, welcome to Fight Net Radio. lee-honish, Andrew Labouche. We're talking MMA. We were actually doing the start of the show and stopped the start of the show because I didn't like the sound on Andrew's snowball, which sounds really dirty if you know what a snowball is, but it just happens to be audio devices that we use, not a sexual slang term. Do you know what a snowball is?
You didn't like my snowball?
There it is. There. Now you're on the mic. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny, though, nonetheless. We're doing MMA. This is season 11. We're bringing back MMA this year. I'm looking to blog and be more involved now that I am doing grappling. Well, specifically BJJ. Maybe I'll do some boxing. Maybe I'll do some MMA. I personally, at 48, I don't know how much my body can take. I have come to the conclusion that today I am old. Today I felt old. For the first time. I can't even work out consecutive days because I need time to heal.
Oh, yeah, it's never good.
No, and you know what? Nobody tells you this. Well, and we found this out with Bernard. You get old one day. Like your testosterone rate just stops, and you get moobs, and you get old, and eating chili and sitting on the couch seems. You're not going to be the 109-year-old guy riding in a bike marathon. I mean, you're just not going to be that guy. That's one guy out of, what is it, a billion guys, right? So that's not going to be you. But we are kicking off the season with a little MMA for you MMA folks. So please click sign up, support Amazon. Go to getamazon.net, type in getamazonnow.com and get yourself an Amazon gift card. When you got to give gifts, because people much prefer money on Amazon. That was my favorite gifts this year for Christmas were Amazon gift cards. Andrew and I both watched the UFC fight. Did you watch all the UFC fight card, or did you just watch the Rousey debacle?
No, I watched them all. I watched.
Okay, so you got to see Cody against Dominic Cruz. Now, Dominic Cruz has been really winning since 2007, since I really started doing this show. We were talking about this. This is our 11th season. I met Dominic when he first came into the UFC. He's always been considered one of the best. That is a classic example. I'm sure from your perspective, that's a classic example of a guy who has a game plan, understands the rules, knows how to win on points, knows how to win by the way the rules of the UFC are laid out, and got taken completely out of his game plan by Cody Goldbrath. Did I say his name right? Goldbrath?
Right.
Brath? Let me butcher names for a whole new year. Cody managed to get a guy who's been on basically a 10-year streak to break his game, right? And that's all MMA is. That's all boxing is. That's all BJJ is at the end of the day. You have what you want to do, and you're hoping you can impart that will on somebody. And boy, did Cody get him out of the... And he did it as a striker.
And it seemed like he was in his head way before the bell even rang. Yeah, these guys had it in for each other at the weigh-ins. You seen Dominic Cruz was he was just out of character. I've followed Cruz too for a while now in the UFC. He seemed out of character. It seemed like the kid was getting under his skin, and it really showed when the fight happened. Like you said, really good head movement. You don't see that a lot in the octagon. But the challenger, he brought it. Cody, is that his first name, right?
Yeah, Cody's the safe way to go.
Yeah, I don't want to butcher it.
In the fight previous to that, we saw TJ Dillashaw, who again has been around since about 2007 in the UFC.
They needed to stop that fight. That was a little much. I know you like that one, but Lee, that man took a lot of elbows to the head. I couldn't believe that the refs were
Love it.
Huh?
Love it. Loved it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I know.
Love it.
You got to think of the fighter. Yes, he was taking all of those blows. It was exciting, I guess, to the crowd. But at some point, the man needs to defend himself, or you got to help him from himself. And look, he got out of there. I couldn't believe he wasn't more cut up or bleeding than what he actually was at the end of that fight. It was insane how many punches and elbows he took to his face while being on the ground.
Which takes us to our featured story and our topic for the day, for those of you to start clicking and commenting and starting your little diping away. I'm actually thinking of writing a blog on this topic, which is, why does a fighter leave? You've seen this with the UFC specifically. Why would a fighter leave what they're good at to do something else? And I mean this in the main event. Ronda Rousey is a world-class grappler. Okay, world-class, no doubt. She has picked up guys and women double her size. We've all seen the video. She picks them up and she does a judo sweep and she's on top of them like a cheap suit, and she can slap a submission on you before you can even twitch, right? That's her game. That is her in a nutshell. Somewhere along the way, okay, I don't know who it was in LA. I don't know if it was for time with Freddie Roach. I don't know where in the last couple of years she got it in her head that she's got to be able to trade punches and knock people out. I don't get that. And I'm sure you've watched this, Andrew, the video that's going around of her shadow boxing.
Yes, yeah.
Oh my God, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's painful to watch. I mean, it's like watching me. I mean, I am a big clumsy mofo, and I got plenty of video of me for anybody to go watch of me looking big and clumsy. That's pretty bad.
They were lying to her. You know, it was a product of too many yes men being around her, yes women, whoever you want to say it is. Just too many of those people around her, Lee. Yeah, you look good. Yeah, that, you know, you are going to be the Mike Tyson of the UFC. You know, they were labeling her that when she was getting all those first round submissions, not really knockout people, but they were.
She's never got. I don't ever look. Ronda Rousey's claim to fame is being this badass second generation judo girl whose mom stuck her into judo when she was old enough to crawl. She was world class, world champion, went to Tough Enough, cleared out in Tough Enough like a beast, right? Goes on this big long winning streak and goes into the UFC and starts taking out women left and right. And she's doing it basically one way. She's walking in, she's doing what most would call like a basic judo throw, but it's the bread and butter of somebody who knows judo. She knows how to grab and she knows how to throw. And she's been able to do it to people within seconds.
You just kind of said the major flaw when you're talking about judo versus a striker. She must grab, she must throw. It is very hard to grab a striker, especially, you know, I'm going to keep this UFC and call it striker, not, you know, and to me, Lee, I've made this argument for years. You will never be able to just walk up and grab a professional boxer. I'm sorry. And I think Ronda Rousey proved that in her last two losses. She didn't know what to do when the punches started coming at her in bunches, you know, combination.
Well, I think it clearly demonstrates in her case. There's one thing that, and I see this in the UFC. I don't see this in boxing. It certainly doesn't happen in grappling because they don't throw any punches. But specifically in MMA, you're looking at world-class black belts in jiu-jitsu or grappling, right? And there's a huge difference. I don't want to get into a pissing match with all you guys out there.
Right.
But I understand, okay? Basically, it's taking an opponent and submitting them or tapping them or doing something and showing a domination over them. Grappling or jiu-jitsu. One's in a gi, one's not in a gi, blah, blah, blah. But we're talking multi-class black belts. Guys that I know personally who couldn't transition into the octagon. And the reason they couldn't is because the minute they get hit in the face, they found out that they don't want to get hit in the face. And I'm talking all world Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion, all world grapplers who, when they showed up in the UFC, you know, the fans were booing them because there was this wave in 2007 and 8 of these grapplers coming in. And then they got hit in the face. You know, the Chuck Liddells of this world were there, who were wrestling up, who were, you know, and it's now become an art. You look at a guy like Dominic Cruz, that's an art. This guy's moving like a boxer, in, out, in, out. He looked, you know what he looked like? Like a young Manny Pacquiao.
Right.
He's bouncing in, he's bouncing out the other way, bouncing back in, right? That's classic footwork by a boxer.
You know,
but
and you know who else I wanted to point to is the first fight, the one that you said was the
Dillashaw. Dillashaw does it too.
What an awesome! Did you see how he used the guy's aggression just to shoot right under his punches? Every time the guy came forward, the one that lost, the one that was defeated, when he came forward, I don't know if the guy was a wrestler. What perfect shot, take him down. Now you're in my world.
Right.
Why didn't Ronda learn this?
No. And it's like nobody taught her the rules of MMA. They just taught her a discipline, and instead she should have been looking at guys like Mighty Mouse or Dillashaw or Dominic. These are guys who understand that the UFC is this very unique set of rules, right? And one of those very unique set of rules is you got to be on the tips of your toes and you've got to almost be a world-class fighter. I mean, you literally do. Forget world-class grappler. Because that's going to happen. All these fights wind up on the floor at some point. You either have to learn how to fight up or fight down. Doesn't matter. That has to happen. But you got to have a jab, or you got to be a kickboxer and know how to leg check. You've got to have that cycle in your game.
Nunez was very sloppy on her approach.
She was. It was shockingly bad stand-up.
Yes.
It was shockingly bad
She
stand-up.
missed a bunch of punches that Ronda never capitalized on. I totally put this loss in it's either Ronda Rousey's psyche is totally gone from this sport, or it's her coaches. And I've seen that the coaches are taking a lot of heat in over her boxing ability. You know what, people? Fuck her boxing ability. She didn't make it to this point being a striker. You must bring out the best in her game. And all they needed to do was teach her a shot, a single leg.
But how many times have we seen it? People go in to go see Freddie to learn a little footwork.
They wanted her Mike Tyson.
Right. She's more marketable that way.
They were saying she was going to beat up Floyd Mayweather. That dingbat on ESPN that's now with Fox with Skip Bayless actually told people he thought this woman would beat up Floyd Mayweather in a boxing ring. He didn't even take it to the octagon. Come on. I blame their coaches for not teaching her how to shoot under a right hand. It's not hard. Matter of fact, that's our major flaw in the octagon is it ain't all about the right hand.
But if you look at the guys that succeed, right?
They got a little bit of both.
Previous fight. Let's look at the previous fight, right? Yeah. Dominic Cruz lost to a guy who was more disciplined at stand-up. Yeah. That was it.
Yes.
That's all he was. He was a more disciplined stand-up, and he wrestled up when he had to. Okay? His game was wrestling up and stopping the takedown, which he managed to do, and he stuck to a very solid game plan of work. Not to mention he had a blistering right. Like, there's no doubt about Cody. Cody can throw some major heat on his paws. Yep. And there is something to be said about heavy hands. And when you go to the main event, I watched it a couple of times. Nunez doesn't have heavy hands. She doesn't have a good jab. She didn't throw very good punches. And then she threw this really sloppy combination because she got so excited at the end that it was almost over. I would call it, I'm going to call it the Rousey effect. Like, it's just the story of another UFC fighter